Hello, Jeff. How are you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Very nice to see you. I love your cap. Very nice.
I know it's to cover my my ever decreasing kind of and expanding barnet.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I get it. Well, it looks great with a cap. So, good job. It's working. Oh, I think you're cutting. Shit. Can you hear me? Damn.
Yes. Can you not hear me?
No, you were freezing, but now you're back. So now we're good.
Where are you?
I'm in the French countryside, so to speak.
Wicked.
Yeah, this is like our studio space where we
work.
work.
Where in what area of France?
It's midwest of France, in Charente.
Okay.
Yeah. And because the touring has been all postponed, we shipped all the gear from touring and stuff, so everything's here now, so we can at least for the few months start writing again. And
I've shipped all my gear here as well, as you can tell.
Were you going to tour with Beak when everything went down?
It was a joke. This is my gear now.
Oh, I see. Yeah, okay.
It's my laptop.
You don't have a studio at home?
No, it doesn't work for me. Never
so
has.
you still have your studio in Bristol?
Yeah, I've got a commercial studio in Bristol. Yeah, so with Stuart.
Because I think I haven't seen the new one, because I think when we went there ages ago, God, that was years ago. I think you moved since, right?
Yeah. You were in Easton in the old State of Art, which was a joke name because it's the complete opposite of anything State of Art, basically. So it
sounded good though.
But do you know what happened was I came off of a tour and I went into the studio one day and it just didn't feel right. It was really like I don't usually care about bad vibes, man. It's just like if you're getting on with work, you can do it anywhere. But something happened. I don't know what it was. Something happened and I went, I've got to go, got to leave. So we found somewhere else and been there 5 years. But it's cool. It's like, loads of other bands use it. It's like a commercial studio now. It's not like my studio. Yeah.
That's good though. It's good to have that.
Stuart's still there.
Is it still there like all the time? Are you locking himself? Have you locked him inside?
Well, we've not furloughed anyone. We did. James had to step off for a bit, but he works for Invader as well. So
Cool, nice.
Yeah.
Good
How
to
you
see
been
you.
though through the through this madness?
Well, I've been doing okay. I mean, I released a record last Friday, and it felt good. To put it out finally, and to move on to other stuff. I think it just it's a bit mad, but it's in a way the positive of all this is like you can think differently about how you release a record, because touring is not essential to touring is a part of it, but now touring is going to happen next year. It actually gives you a sort of perspective of what you're doing, which I think is interesting, in a way. And I've got other stuff
as well. Absolutely, but I expect actually also knowing what it's like when you release records, you go into you literally go onto a promotional train in your brain, and you don't get off it, and so actually, strangely enough, other than going somewhere to go in places to do interviews and live sessions, not really an awful lot has changed. It's lots of talking, lots of interviews, I expect, on Zoom, and playlists and
that's it. But you know what? It made me realize that actually you do a lot of traveling around to places to do interviews, and it gives you a feeling that you're doing a lot. But actually, when you do them just on the phone, you realize it's not that much. It's taking, and
you want to sack your press person.
You what?
You want to sack your press person if it doesn't feel like you're doing enough.
No, it's not that. No, I do.
It's a joke. It was a joke.
I know.
Sorry.
But I do feel like I've done a lot, and And I definitely have sacked a bunch of people in my career, but this time it doesn't feel like necessary. No, I feel very happy with the team. But it's just that you feel like you're in a buzz normally, and also you release a record on a Friday, and then on a Sunday you play New York, and in a way, people haven't had time to digest a record or to hand it over between themselves, and
they're going to be really hungry for it when you play, and they'll know the tunes, and that's
the idea.
That's a huge thing,
Yeah,
because it is difficult going out and playing new tunes.
With an audience who's discovering them.
Because you'll play the singles, people will know the singles, but other than that, I mean, suppose you've released it now, so people, but they won't know how to. It's good. I mean, it's an interesting way to work. I mean, we had a load of Beak gigs lined up through the summer.
I was going to ask. What was going on for you when everything went down? You had some gigs, right?
We were just kind of preparing for. Okay, do it. It's Leah in the background.
No problem.
We were preparing for not like extensive touring, but just lots of festivals. We'd just done a tour. Well, I mean, we actually, to be honest, the first time that we've done a lot of playing live. Like we did your show when we were out. And it's kind of these sporadic periods of time, like we'll do a week and then a week off and then there'll be another week. But it's been really good. I mean, it's so strange what happened. Go on, sorry.
No, go for it. So strange.
It's so strange what happened with Beak. I mean, we've been together for 10 years.
Yeah.
And then just in the last year, people started to know us. And
I mean, you did your first TV with me in Paris in March.
10 years after we started. Did
you see it? Did you like it? Or did you hate it?
I thought the show was great. I thought we were terrible, but I think
no.
Oh no.
People loved you. Come on.
It was no, the audience were really good. I didn't think we would particularly connect with the audience, but they were really nice actually. It was they were good. Proper music lovers, which is interesting because you play things like that, and it just shows how wide actually the people music taste they had there. Or perhaps that's just France, because I think people, especially young people, tend to have, I don't know about your kids, but I think more and more people tend to have like a real eclectic taste in music. I don't know how it was for you when you were younger, but I feel now people jump from, I don't know, Drake to, I don't know, Beak, well, that's a pretty big jump. That's like the Grand Canyon.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, I get it. If I don't know. It's so weird because then so many other people just don't even know, don't know the name of the artist. They just listen to playlists at the gym,
that's the problem. It can be an issue because I think music used to come from communities, and
personalities.
So we're going to jump on talking about that, the communities and location, etc. But first I need to say something as the host of this little conversation. I've been told I need to say that you people who are watching this, so the 3 people who are watching this, you can...
Well, is that including us?
Listen to me. Including us. So, and your dog. You can support venues all around the country in the UK by donating to their fundraising campaigns listed on venue donations page on the independentvenueweek.com website. And if you want to donate to multiple venues, you can do that on to the general fundraising campaign listed at the top. So apparently you can choose different venues that you can donate to.
That's good.
This is the purpose of this conversation. Yes. And at the end of this conversation, you will announce who you will be speaking with next.
I will indeed.
Next. Yes. So let's not forget that. So so that's it. I mean, my first question to you, I want to talk about how, I remember a great anecdote. Please, can you switch off your phone, man? We're in the middle of a chat.
No. Do you know what it is? I never have it on. And
just
randomly,
now.
it's when I was gardening, it knocked it on. So
oh, okay. So that's why you never answer when I call you. Okay, good.
Yeah, no, that's because it's you.
I know. I wouldn't answer to me, so I get it.
No.
So, so the purpose of us talking is to talk about independent venues, right? And
yes.
I'm interested in knowing your history with that. And I remember a story you told me ages ago, and I can't really remember much details of it, but it was a story about you being young and so proud because you had done a collaboration with Tricky, and you were speaking to, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Do you want to listen? Do you want to tell me that story, and then we'll move on to talk about? Oh, you don't want?
No. No. I mean, basically, I don't know how old I was. I don't know how old I was. But I was young, and I was working in the studio. And
it was before Portishead.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and Massive Attack were recording their record, and Tricky was there, and we got on really well. And he kind of like there was this album that came out in support of sickle cell disease in Bristol, by by loads of local eyes, and I was the programmer and worked on the track with Tricky, Nothing's Clear, and I was really, 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 really happy, and that kind of done something, that for all these, because I still hadn't done released anything, and I had a credit, as such, to do something. So I did it, and then there was the party. This is the one with Mark Stewart, isn't it? Yeah, right. So Mark Stewart. So it's before I realised how Mark Stewart was about. I was a young, impressionable kind of producer, whatever, and there was a party at a club afterwards, and I went down there, and Tricky. I was hanging out with Tricky and his mates and that, and Mark Stewart was there. And Mark and Tricky were really good mates. I don't know why you brought up this story, but anyway, I was really chuffed, and Tricky introduced me, and he went, "Oh yeah, who are you then?" And I went, I've just done a track with Tricky on the sickle cell album." And he went, "What do you want? A fucking medal?" and it shattered my dreams. Was that the story you made?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I love it.
Yeah.
The reason I love it is, go ahead.
It shattered my dreams. It was just like, but then I realised that Mark Stewart is basically the anti-God. So he's like, whatever side you're on, he's on the opposite. And he's an instigator of different thoughts, chaos. And I've got to know Mark, and he's an absolutely brilliant person. I've kind of taken on. He's the originator, really, of so much. He's inspirational, but also incredibly frustrating, and you want to punch him, really. If you could reach.
That he would talk like that to the younger generation. You know what I mean? You coming in bragging about the track.
I wasn't bragging.
I know, but that's why he was intended. He was sort of telling you, "Oh, really? Want a fucking medal?" But I love that because we need role models like this. I think when we're young, because we need people
to put us down.
But I think. If you are too much about everything you do is amazing, it gives you a challenge. I mean, I don't know how you felt, but I'm not going to say that if he didn't say that to you, you've never done or made the music that you've done after that. I don't think it was that important, but
no,
I still like that story because and to link it to what we're here to talk about, it's about you went to a place, it's about a community of people in the city. And doing these parties in different places and club nights and you meet suddenly your heroes and that you interact with them, and that's how suddenly you're shaped as an artist as well.
So you are. I mean, it's very strange. I mean, because a lot of people talk about Bristol, and they've talked about Bristol endlessly, and most people have made up their their own history of it.
The myth,
even the myth, and even the bands have made up their own history, basically, to suit the narrative, basically. You know what I mean?
Right.
That's how people buy into it. So it's like, why take the tough approach of trying to dispel something? You might as well just make it flowery and make yourself sound special. Do you know what I mean? So and we've always not done that, because we're not actually from Bristol, you know, itself. We're kind of a collection of people from outside and around. But it is interesting that people have written so much about it, and I've done so many interviews, and most journalists have actually written their story already, and they just want us to confirm, you know.
Right.
So you either sit there and you row with them about it, and you say, no, that's rubbish, that never happened, or that club night only had 20 people there, and you know, or
myths are made of that sometimes. 20 people. No,
I know,
Sex Pistols.
but there were 20 people there, but it was 1,000. That's a bit like club in Bristol, where everyone said it was like really, really, like it was big queues outside, where Dave Mack, who was the original engineer, you know, used to go there and it'd be empty. You know what I mean? It's just like, just like this cool. So anyway, Bristol and venues.
Yeah. So my question is, like, what was the beginning for you?
Right. Well,
my question was just,
I actually started. I went to rock, heavy metal bars and clubs, because I just found everyone. When I started going to pubs, you know, 17, 18.
Wow, cool.
You know, I went to a club in Bristol before that. It was an under-18s club, and I was a scratch DJ, and I kind of entered the competition when I was about 14. A
scratch competition.
It was a DJ competition in the studios in Bristol, which is kind of like, you know, it's a big kind of commercial nightclub, and on a Wednesday nights used to have young kids go there, and they had a DJ competition. So all the young DJs from all over Bristol got together. I did meet a lot of, you know, really interesting people, like DJ Links was there, and loads of, you know, on that front, it was really good, you know. And I think I got second or something like that, which was, you know, I never had my own deck, so it was kind of a bit of I just had to tape records up and just do it, you know. Because, you know, decks were really expensive. They were like $1,000 or something, So
how did you know about DJing and scratching then? How did you?
Well, because my mate had an old set of disco decks, and I used to go down his and use them. And you know, it was like, it came out of breakdancing really, and that was a really weird. Breakdancing is that you know, Portishead's this tiny little town outside of Bristol. Then you've got Clevedon, Nailsea, Yatton. And traditionally, all these towns used to fight each other, right?
Yeah.
And then about 1985, you'd go there and dance against them. How mental is that?
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like really tough guys.
Like a dance competition.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. So you would have your own crew, and they'd have their own crew. And
Amazing.
you used to get into the centre of town, and they used to, instead of fighting, you would dance against each other.
There you go.
And it's like some terrible Hollywood film from 1982, isn't it?
Yeah, it almost brought tears to my eyes, actually.
So anyway, so that's how I got into it, kind of hip hop and stuff like that. I was always a drummer as well. And I was in a couple of rock bands, like terrible covers bands, playing Bryan Adams and stuff like that, with a guy that owned a taxi company, and he was about 50 and we were about 16, and it was me and a couple of other people, you know, gone on to be in different bands. But so I never used to go to the hip hop places, because being from Portishead, it was too. I was just thought it was too dangerous for me, really. It most probably wasn't, but you know, when we used to go into Bristol, we used to get mugged a lot, you know, and so I never really went to. I only went a couple of times to the place called the Tropic, was where, you know, people like Smith and Mighty and Dirty Den and kind of all these, you know, famous Bristol only famous in Bristol, but kind of famous breakdancers and DJs and like, you know. So I used to go to rock clubs, and it was just really good fun. I loved it. It was like there was always
your culture was so your culture was really hip hop, but you wouldn't go to those places. You'd go to the rock clubs, basically.
Yeah, but also all my mates used to go to the rock clubs, and we used to go see a band play. You know, doing covers. That was it.
Is there
I played little gigs and.
Yeah, when you started making music and playing gigs, was there a venue in particular, even if it's like 100 capacity, but was there a place where you felt, if I'm playing there and it's packed, I made it?
Yeah, we never got, none of our bands ever got that far, really. We'd be playing pubs and upstairs at pubs, you know.
Right.
But and then everything changed. So basically, I set up Porter's Head. We made a record, and we made a record that we never thought could be played live, right?
Yeah.
So, and then we released it. We never played any gigs, right? You know, right? So then we got asked to do Jules Holland, which meant we had to play live. Wow. So we put the band together, which consisted of the people that played on the album as well. Yeah. People like Clive, John, and Jim, and that. And then we played one. We played one gig in Camden at the Tea Rooms, which was upstairs. I don't know if it exists, as a warm up. Then we played Jules Holland, and then we played Transmusicale Festival.
Great festival in France.
Yeah, brilliant festival. And ultimately, we thought that was kind of it. We didn't need to do any more live. It was kind of like, let's not do any more live. It's not really, because it's not really working. It did. So, and then really strange. So what was really strange is we never played a small venue after that.
Right. But even with previous bands, I mean, you only played small clubs in previous bands, right?
Pubs, to
like
20
pubs
people.
Or
youth clubs and workingmen's clubs and stuff like that.
But your dream was never to sell out a venue. Your dream was to be a producer and make great records, basically.
It was always records, It was kind of live. I didn't like live because the sound was uncontrollable, and I really didn't like. I just didn't like it. You know. I mean, the first band I saw that was a proper band was a band called Cameo.
Right.
You know, from the States. So, do you know Cameo at all?
No, I don't. No.
Oh, right. You should look them up. They're you know, all black guys playing soul fusion rock, massive hits. Wow. And I can't remember the singers now, but he used to wear. He had a crazy high top and a red kind of codpiece, you know, so over his cock, you know. Okay. And they were amazing, but that was the first kind of proper band I saw when I was, I don't know, 17 or something. You know. But
so you used to go to? Oh no, go ahead.
No, I didn't. I didn't used to go to a lot of gigs. That was not your obsession. I was busy making. No, I used to go to some DJ night, but ultimately, I used to go to a brilliant club called the World of Cheese, which was just a place where they played TV themes.
Is that in Bristol?
Yeah, you could play pool there, and it was just, you know, really nice, kind of nice. I prefer going somewhere where there's no, you know, people being cool, like no one pretending. I used to go to goth night. We used to go out to a goth night in the old beer cellar, where it was just like, you know, it's just like goth and rock, really, because it was just I always disliked club music. I didn't like dance music, and and I was thought that everyone was showing off, and they really annoyed me, those people, especially when it got to kind of that kind of Ibiza time, with kind of like the raves were good, but I never did drugs to really enjoy them properly, you know. So I think that makes a massive difference, you know.
So knowing your relationship to clubs, so what does it make you feel though when you see that today those clubs are quite struggling, especially with, you know, building developments, especially in London when Madame Jojo's closed down, and
well,
you know,
my mate Andy was the DJ at Madame Jojo's.
Right.
So yeah, that all sounded really dodgy to me. There was a lot of, I think any of these clubs and gigs, when developers want to close them down, they'll just do anything to do it.
Yeah.
And you're coming against, I mean, we've had it in Bristol with the Fleece, we've had it in Bristol with the Louisiana, we've, you know, and at long last, you know, they're getting the historical recognition that they deserve now to keep them open. But the strangest thing is, because it was there and we ended up playing these big, I never really played the smaller places in England, really. I mean, and it's only going back now with Beak that we're actually playing, like, you know, Bedford, Ramsgate Musical,
Brunel Social Club.
Yeah. I mean, Brunel Social Club is that's the hands down the best venue in Britain. And I haven't played all of them, but ultimately that's just that sorted that place. It's the most amazing.
Great vibe.
It's amazing because it's actually part of the community. It's political, it's respectful, it's supporting, the community supports it, Nathan supports the community. And that is a perfect
support
example.
Musicians who want to try have a future in music, and it's so important.
They should do a study of that.
Yeah, place. They should do a documentary or something, or
they should do a study of it to see why it works,
the impact,
and then the impact of it, and then give that to other venues, because it's incredible. It really
and those
is.
venues are struggling, but obviously, like, we're talking now to help and, you know, spread awareness and help, you know, push people to donate. But I feel that that's not enough. You know, you can donate, but you really need more help than that. And from not just from government, but also from agencies, you know, all these sort of agents, the touring agents who who go to these places to find, you know, the future big bands, basically. I mean, except Portishead, who never played small clubs. you couldn't be found anywhere, but you know what I mean? So why do you think in England there's this sort of, it's almost like they have to struggle, you know? It's like
there's basically
romantic.
a huge lack of respect for being a musician in the country. It's like, you're a waster, you know, where, you know, I was amazed actually when Beak first started. We started playing France first, and then we went through Belgium and then Switzerland, and just the respect, you know, just you get treated is just people don't realise that actually playing England, except from a very few clubs and venues, and I'm not saying this as a wide brush stroke, because I know what people like McGelly does in Louisiana with kind of food, and, you know, and Nathan and so many, you know, like Ramsgate, and, you know, in Bedford and Oxford, there's some good people there, right? And Scotland especially, you know, and
but traditionally,
but traditionally England's the worst place to play.
I think it's getting better.
Except from America, because if you're a young band in America, you've got it tough, basically, you know. And I mean, it's because you just don't get. I mean, when Beak first went to America, I've only ever done America with Portishead, right? So when we first went there with Beak, that was a hard lesson. That was like, you know, there's still this thing of you're the turn. We tell you what to do. You're not the band telling us what
we're hired to play.
You're hired to play. Now shut up and play. You know.
So I can sell booze.
Yeah, and we got into a couple of proper rows, you know, in the States.
I remember in the UK there was this expression of the toilet tour, and I remember promoters really asking for people to stop saying that. But
I thought it was change your venue, give us some food.
Yeah, some backstage.
Stop taking pay to play. You know what I mean?
I did that. I did that when I first arrived in England. I did pay to play.
Yeah. And
I think it's got better. But
the industry needs to look at itself, because and there are like any business, it's like car dealerships. There's good ones and there's bad ones, and unfortunately the bad ones usually make the most money because they're ripping people off. So it's, you know, that's the problem. The good ones end up going under because, you know, like it's very, very hard, you know.
Maybe we need to look at it as, is this a business that needs to make money? Is it a business that needs to be profitable, or is it a business that needs to be supported? You know what I mean?
Well, as you know, being one of our European friends, you know,
this is Europe, guys.
Hi. I know. Can I come over? I've got my bag. If I could jump through there, I would.
You're welcome.
And my dogs are barking like that. Anyway, what I was going to say is that, as you know, in Europe, there's a lot of subsidies of local government towards festivals, and I mean, it's been drying up. It's been drying up over the last couple of years. But when we first went to France or whatever, we play these festivals, and it's like, hang on, we're getting a single room each. Like, we're getting food and we're getting paid. And like, how can they make this work? And you know, you'll be playing with, you know, like you did with, you know, that brilliant place in Belgium where you choose the bands, you know, that you played with us the first time.
Sonic City.
Sonic City, yeah.
Festival. Is that? Yeah.
And you kind of think,
brilliant. Yeah.
We're playing with you know, all these great people. How can they afford it? And they save up a lot of their own money through the year, but ultimately there must be some financial help. And
there is.
And you can do that in towns in England. You can, but usually it's the wrong people that get the money, because they're the people that are really good at filling out the forms and schmoozing with people. You know, bands are not usually that together. You know, so it's really down to the venues to kind of seek some of. I mean, there should be support, government support, and initiatives to put on events for people who go see music. You know.
Another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and then I'm going to move on to read the questions that the fans want to ask you, Geoff.
Fans.
The fan club of Geoff Barrow has spoken.
I didn't know they had internet in the old age people's homes.
The Boyndale Convention, as you called them, when you came to my TV show Echoes. So the question I wanted to ask you before I move to those questions was about, you know, the new law that came for musicians who are going to come from Europe to perform in the UK. So from the 1st of January 2021, they're going to have to pay visas, and they're going to have to prove that they have, I think it's around 900 quid for the last 3 months in their bank account. So tell me what you think about that.
Well, actually, I saw that come up, and then because I saw it on Twitter, because sometimes I'm on Twitter, not a lot,
noticed.
but sometimes, and what I found, I kind of posted this thing, and I realised that the amount of bands that wouldn't exist now, bands that wouldn't have existed under that regime. I'm going to say regime because it is. It's a horrible. And then someone then reposted this thing that that actually it wasn't true.
Oh,
it was no. Yeah. It was posted from an article that was written with the possibility of it happening. I'm not 100% sure.
Does it have to be voted or something?
Yeah. And
okay.
I'd be kind of speaking out of term if I said I knew the absolute answer on this. But if it does happen, we're screwed. And especially screwed to see any decent bands from abroad in the UK.
Someone
also
said that actually it's a good way to protect British culture. What do you think about that?
Well, the French ring fence their culture a hell of a lot, with
quotas on radio.
Quotas, funding. Yeah, I mean that's fair enough, but but who are the people that will be able to afford to make music? That's
what worries me.
Yeah, and it's happening now. It's people,
Yeah.
It's a massive question, because then it goes into labels, it goes into Spotify, it goes into so many different areas of how to support yourself as an upcoming musician.
The thing that is annoying, especially from from France, I would say that, so I left France when I was 20 to live in London, and I didn't have 900 quid on my bank account. Like, that was definitely not possible.
No.
So, and we played every venues.
Over $900 over 3 months, I think. So it was $900 a month for 3 months, I think.
Yeah,
it wasn't just.
You don't go below 900 for 3 months. I just think we didn't have any label to support us, and we played every venues under the sun, even the pay to play, even every shit deals. And then we finally found the Luminaire in London, and that's where we found a community who helped us and gave us some great opportunities and blah blah blah. And then we got signed, and then so that was the trajectory for me. And I sang in English because I always sang in English. That's how I learned how to sing, from jazz standards. So I didn't come to me to sing in French, because from the age of 8, I always sang in English, and that's how I learned the language. But then in France, there's those quotas about you have to sing in French to be played on the radio. So there's a lot of French people, or people in Europe like me, who sing in English, because, and why not,
Yeah.
But then in their own countries, there's this sort of ban. So for them, it's exportation. When you think of Phoenix, when you think of Air, when you think of Daft Punk, they all kind of started outside of France.
They do. Yeah.
They didn't start in France because they were all singing in English, and they were influenced by Anglo-Saxon music. So so that's what I'm worried about. It's like, where do we start?
Well,
I think people go?
I think you just fund the arts. That's where you start. You put people that know what they're talking about in charge of the purse, and you give people an opportunity to play music, and especially people that can't traditionally afford to, and it's got to start there, really. There will always be people that will come from, that will fight and make it through, they've got to fight just
it's not
to
the end of music,
No, but the trouble is, it's as you know, because you've avoided it all your career, because the kind of bands that do well, most of them are very able to communicate to their major labels. They're very up for being kind of, manipulated to different markets, and they're just clever. They're usually very upper middle class people that have had really good education and possibly know someone at the label. It's I can remember going into Go Beak, Go Disc, and feeling really like, I felt like a country bumpkin, you know. I felt like someone who couldn't communicate, and all these cool London people and all that stuff, but they were nice people. They never made me feel like that, you know. But you know, definitely, you know, many majors that will make you feel like that. And unless you know, it's just a funny one, especially with what's going on just at this moment with Black Lives Matter. I mean, you know, black music in the UK has actually done an incredible thing over the last 10 years. It's transformed itself into a multi-billion-pound industry. Like, and you know, Stormzy and you know, other numerous kind of, you know, black artists have ownership, and they've got really good lawyers, and the deals that they're doing are incredible, and it's on their own terms, you know. It's great. I think that's an incredibly positive side of the music industry, and how they are really smart people, have made really smart choices, own their own music, and now have taken on the majors for their own game, you know, and set up their own. They've followed a lot of the American business as well, with setting up, you know, production companies, signing people to production companies, and then selling on to. So anyway,
it's a multi-dimensional business. And I know you're very sensitive to that, because when I started and I met you, you straight away told me about the dangers of signing deals, and just, I remember you said, just read your contracts.
Or get someone to
read your contracts.
But, I mean, you were already there, so you already knew that. But I mean, you know,
but it's good to know that you're not crazy, you know, because that's how it makes you feel. That's how some people makes you feel.
They make you feel difficult.
Difficult. Irresponsible, irrespectful,
all those things. It's incredible, isn't it, having your own voice? But going back to venues, the long way round, it was Beak only did its first proper UK tour last year, after 9 years, and it's the first time that I'd ever played a lot of the venues. And it was really, really brilliant. It was you know, it's crazy, because you get, like, you would have played those venues 4 or 5 times around, you know what I mean, or you know, at least once or twice. And lots of bands do, you know, that
when you're younger,
when you're younger, and me being my age, it was like, oh man, look at the stairs, look at this, we got to get the gear up the stairs.
I know, I've lived that. I broke my back like many times carrying gear through narrow stairs, for sure.
Exactly. We've had to hire Joe. Joe is like this, he's the most brilliant, he's this young guy who's the most brilliantly talented Pro Tools engineer, and young kind of engineer and producer. But he comes on tour with us because he literally is 6'8" and about 20 stone. And he can just lift anything up. It's just like,
amazing.
You know, so we're not, you know, we're sorry, Joe, we're not using your brain today. We're just we're using your brawn.
It's a form of intelligence.
Absolutely. So
so I'm going to move on to the questions, if you don't mind.
Cool.
What do you think?
Crack on.
I think it's a good time to do it. Should I blinded pick? What should I do? I don't know which one to choose, really. They're all good.
I'll keep the answers short, actually, and then we can get them all done.
Okay. This is a question from Charlie Ricard. I hope I pronounced that right.
Right.
Hello, Charlie. Charlie wants to know, Geoff, who were your early inspirations, and who excites you musically at the moment? Okay.
My early inspirations were DJ Marley Marl. It was a lot of the music was on the electro albums, Street Sounds electro albums 1 to 17. That were compilations of American tracks that we could only get on import usually. So they were put together in London by a guy, They were really big. And then
Amazing.
you had to, you know, kind of Jimi Hendrix, James Brown, that kind of stuff. But actually, when it comes down to, I've found what's his name, Mark Stewart as an influence. The way that he deals with the record industry, the way that he looks at life, from a I find it really, and I think being from the Southwest, it's actually an identity, and I think that he captures the identity of a lot of people in Bristol, and the humour and the just the aggressiveness, you know, the brightness and everything. So he's a mental kind of influence, you know.
Yeah, a mentor. That's great.
And what was the it was the record.
Who excites you musically at the moment?
Well, we just signed Billy No Mates to our label, which is
nice.
A female artist called Tor. And she writes all the music herself, records it all herself, basically makes her own videos. She's from around Bournemouth way, but kind of in the UK. But she excites me because how bright, brilliant lyrics. And then I would say that I'm always inspired by work by James Holden, you know, Ben Frost, who's a Mika Levy. You know, she's a force of brilliance, you know.
That's amazing.
Have
you released some of her soundtracks? Or
we've released
on Invader.
Yes, on Invader we released Monos, but we did some of Under the Skin, but it was like not the proper record, you know. So
Great.
Lots of people, and someone like, you know, inspires me is someone like Killer Mike, you know, from Run the Jewels. You know, they're
amazing
powerful
speech on CNN. He did.
Powerful pair of people that are on the right side of everything, on the right side of history. So and it's weird actually musically. That's it. There's loads of others, but I'll keep it short.
I'm sure. Malcolm J. Heflin wants to know what albums have resonated with you during lockdown. Did you listen to music differently when you were in lockdown?
I don't actually listen to a lot of music, full stop. I don't. Right. I never have.
You don't have like a morning track or?
No, I don't listen to. I don't really listen to. I've never listened to a lot of music. I've made music, but I've.
So you mean like music is not a background noise? It's something that you sit to listen to. You commit to it, or not even that?
I you know, I listen to actually one of the outstanding records has been Low.
Double Negative.
Double Negative, and just tracks from their career. They're just Low. Low are just a brilliant band.
And that record was so brave in terms of production. I thought it was unique, and I never heard something like that.
No, they're in a place that is that they seem comfortable within their own path, and they ultimately want to push boundaries, and they have. So I mean, Low.
Incredible record. It'll be one of my highlights of this past 10 years, I think. Double Negative.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I mean, it's a hard listen. It's not, you know.
No, it's challenging. But I felt it was a great evocation of our time as well. Because it's like
it was. It is. They've been doing. I don't know if you've been seeing that. They've been doing Friday sessions. From their house.
I've seen them.
Just soul of the earth. It's just proper soul of the earth stuff, you know.
Yeah, real soul in their music. I agree. So let's carry on. Harry Bailey is asking, which songs or artists would you say have had the most profound effect on your music? Well, we kind of answered that.
Yeah. I mean, it's right across early hip hop, you know, like I said, Molly Mole, DJ Muggs, RZA, you know, DJ Premier, Timbaland, just all the dons really, you know. And then on another side, you know, it's songwriting, Nirvana, you know, but you know, all the big ones, Beatles. It's songwriting, you know, like Wichita Lineman or classic songs that, you know, I'm obsessed by the theme from MASH, you know. You know, but then actually I would say the band that kind of brought it all together for me is Can, you know. That's the band that links everything, that links James Brown, Jimi Hendrix to the Beatles, to electronic experimentation, to synths, you know.
I've heard a really great cover of Can recently by an artist called Naeem. I don't know if you know him.
No.
He's just released a record last Friday, actually, called Star Teacher. And he did a cover of You and I.
Oh, wicked.
It's a beautiful cover.
Isn't that Silver Apple?
Silver Apple. It's Silver Apple. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
Well, that's
I was trying to trick you.
Yeah, that's another band that you know, hugely. Yeah.
Cool. So another question is, I found it funny, that question. So let me know. Simon Hall is asking.
I'm just going to move this over.
I can hear a bird. Do you have birds? Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. What would be the lineup?
Country.
What would be the lineup for you in a band if you could have any fellow artists alive or dead? If you were forming a band and you have to choose the bassist, the drummer, the backing vocalist. You hate that question, do you?
Oh yeah, that's like the classic football team one that people talk, you know, in the pub, and it goes on for days. It goes on for days and days and days.
Well, we can start it and then finish it another time if you want.
Yeah. It would most probably have Mitch Mitchell on drums, or it couldn't, because
you can have two drummers.
No, you're on three. I mean, Danny Taylor from Silver Apples. You know, you've got I can't remember the guy's name, but you know, the guy from Can, the most brilliant drummer ever.
The drummer.
No, I can't do it. I can't do it.
Let me find his name.
It's too.
You
it's too much.
Oh.
No, that's three drummers in. That's three drummers in
That's
2
okay.
minutes.
You can have any band you want, Jeff.
No, I can't. I mean, the thing is, I will say though. One thing I will say though is that
Jackie Liebezeit, is that him?
Yeah, Jackie Liebezeit. Yeah, he's insanely good. But also Danny Taylor from Silver Apples, and then I don't know. You talk about Sly and Robbie. You know, you know, he's got.
Yeah, you won that duo.
It's ridiculous. I mean, but I will say that when it comes down to being happy playing music, it wasn't like I was never happy with Portishead playing music, but playing with Bill and Will, and before then Matt, is the happiest I've ever been musically in my life. Because
what do you look into a band to form a band? What's the perfect combination? Do you think what does it need to be? Is it an association of people who are very different? Is it complementary?
Well, it's weird because it has. I know that Can were they fought a lot, you know, and the Police fought a lot, and you know, great bands fight a lot, you know, and we never fought in Portishead really, and we definitely never fought in Beak. I mean, you know, we used to, you know, Matt is.
What does that mean?
Matt. no, but I don't think that really. I think you can have good bands and bad bands that get on, you know.
You have shit bands who get along really well as well.
Yeah, you do. You get, I mean, Christ, look at Mumfords or something like that. I mean, well, they must hate each other, really. He's got a bigger church than me. I don't know. He's got a bigger church. He owns 3/4 of Devon. I only own half of Scotland.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So, I just look at people you're like-minded with, and ultimately your goal is to challenge people. Your goal. I look for people who want to challenge people. And don't play. You could be in a band, and it's very easy to be in a band and find something that connects you, and it'll be a 12-bar blues, and you'll go, wow, I'm playing music, isn't that great? And you can have fun like that. I've never ever wanted to do that, and lots of the musicians I've ever played with aren't like that as well. They basically want to push boundaries, and whether that's taking that music from there and that music and smashing them together, or trying to play music that you don't know how to play badly, but you end up with something else.
Yeah, exactly.
That, I think that's important.
Cool. That was a great answer. Do you have time for one last question?
I have as much time as you want. Yeah. If they're still awake. They most probably have an afternoon nap now.
Maybe we died. We killed them with our boring talk.
No, I think they usually have an afternoon nap now. My fans, anyway.
They fell asleep. Okay, yeah. I'm gonna wake them up. Come on, wake up! Last question. Right. Does the current political climate? Oh, this is a question from Anne Green. Right.
Oh, here we go.
There we go. The question about the current political climate. But Anne Green wants to know, does the current political climate make you want to write more or less music? New music. I thought that was interesting, the way the question was posed, because more or less. But I guess the question is, more. when you think about all these issues and things happening in the world, does that stir something in you, or does it make you just want to give up?
It always. Oh, no, I'm right. Thanks, right. It always has. It always has. There's never an off. Like, even if you're not specifically writing with the knowledge in the brain that's affected what you're doing, it will have done. So yeah, you get up in the morning, you read a terrible story about what the government's done, which could be any day that you choose, and you go to work and you write music, and that's that's.
Do you write music every day?
No, I write music very very small amount of music. I'm at the moment doing a score with Ben Salisbury for a film.
Cool. Can you say what film or not?
Yeah, it's a no, I best not really at the moment, because it's not because it's any secret. It's just that if it goes well, then I can. If it goes well, if it doesn't go well, you won't ever hear it. So
that's fine.
So and without being disrespectful for the filmmakers,
so it's exciting.
Yeah, no, it is exciting. I've been very lucky that I can do Beak. I can run Invader, and I can, a day job writing film scores. And we've been incredibly lucky. Well, I've been incredibly lucky with that. But I must admit, is that you've got to. It's me being in a famous band once doesn't cut any slack in the film world. It's like you've got to be able to do it, or you're not. And so sometimes I do get filled out. Sometimes with people, it's like, well, you're doing that because you're in Porter's Head, and it's like, well, fair enough, but it's but you've got to do it. you've got to be there, because
you still have to do it. Yeah, exactly.
Those film
but of course Portishead is you know, is the entry door for most of people for your music, and you know, and working with you. But that's fair enough, because you made that. So it's okay. It's like it's not like you didn't.
No. So yeah, going back to the question though, everything affects everything. You only got to listen to any music that I've ever made to realize that it's been affected by politics and social events and social events. That sounds like kind of parties. No, you know, and
social
by dinner
events.
parties. Yeah.
Yes. Right. And now I'm going to ask you a question that I know you will hate.
That's all right.
But it's almost like a revenge, because I'm being asked that question all the time, and I want you to suffer, not just me.
Yes.
It's actually a question that it's not listed here, but someone put it on my socials.
Yeah.
And the question was, where's the next Portishead record?
Where's the next Portishead record?
I mean, what are you doing?
Where's the next Savages record? When's the next Savages record? Yeah.
Exactly.
Basically, we will get together. We will make music when it's always been the same. Soon as we realised that we had made music that people like, it became a lot of pressure on us, because we didn't expect it, and we've never been ones to kind of like flaunt in the music industry and be part of that gang, and it's always been difficult for us to write music. Not like difficult if you're a nurse, or difficult if you're, you know, a builder, but just difficult. And obviously we've made money from it. So when I think, you know, Beth's pretty much finishing, I think, her own solo album now, which has taken, you know, a long time to do. I've been doing what I do, and Age's been doing what he's done. I mean, we've actually spoke more in the last couple of months than we have done for a long time. And we just never say never. We just want it to be good. We just want it to be good, and there's a lot of pressure on us.
Well, I actually think that the Portishead record have never stopped being better and better. Like Third is my favorite out of the three, which is good. I think, you know.
Yeah, well, we never wanted it to be the other way around, you know. I mean, because and that's the pressure. But it
happens a lot. You know, the first record is the best, and then it never really, you know, to some people.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it does, and that's what we give ourselves grief over, you know, that we want it to be, we want it to be, and I suppose if we feel like we can, we won't, and if we feel like we can, we will, and that's the answer, really.
Yeah, exactly. That's a great answer. I love it. I'm going to use it.
But the thing is as well is that we, you know, it's a very, very different world. I mean, on the basis of political stuff in the world, we would love to say something, you know, but we all are in our own small ways at the moment.
Yeah. Of course. Thank you so much, Geoff, for chatting with me. It was nice to catch up.
I feel like I should have asked you a load of questions. But,
no, because that's not the idea. You're my guest, and next time you'll have a guest, and you'll be asking him a lot of questions.
Yeah.
So you're gonna shut up a little bit next time, Geoff.
Good. Yeah. I prefer it when I do.
Who's your guest? Who's your guest next time?
Next. I don't even know what time it is. The next time we do this, so
I don't even know either.
So the next time I will be talking to Jason from Sleaford Mods.
There you go. That's the
gonna,
man. Handsome
yes.
picture there.
Yeah, I know. It's like, that's who you want to see, isn't it? Not. Yeah.
Well,
so
it's going to be great.
Jason's going to join me for Hand Shandy in the Magic Box.
And you're going to host. It's going to be
I'm going to host. I'm going to host, and thank you for choosing me to talk to.
Well, of course, always.
I mean,
it gives me an excuse to catch up with you as well.
Yeah, I mean, well, thanks for getting us on the French TV. It was the first time we'd ever done that.
It was so good. You were so good.
It was.
And for people who are watching this, this is we're talking about Echoes. It's a TV show I'm hosting in France called Echoes with Jehnny Beth, but you can find it online. And he had Jeff with his wonderful Beak team, and Neil Fignagna and King Crow.
Yeah.
Who I thought you were so lovely too. Like both of them, you were really asking questions, being very, you were curious about what they were about, which I found.
I was,
great.
yeah. I generally am. I mean, I used to be a lot more angry, about music.
Yeah. I know.
But then you realise that these people are people, and they're doing what they think is right, and they're getting on and getting through life as they do. But I still can't just react badly to some people, It's what happens. You're exactly the same. Don't pretend,
I've actually gotten better. I mean, I used to be so bad. I mean, the first time we spoke, I was really rude to you. So there you go.
Yeah, you were. Yeah.
Yeah, but see, we're here.
I did.
So
I was fairly honest with you, though, wasn't I? I mean.
Yeah. We were both honest. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you were rude, and it's like, I know you didn't want to be there. It's just like, I know you wanted your boyfriend to do it.
Oh, that's rude.
No, it's a joke. It's a joke. It's a joke. But no, and rightly so. It was a good choice. It was the right choice. You followed it through, and it was the right choice. So that's.
It's just hard when you want to do something, and then you sort of you don't want anyone to sort of stir your boat and just tell you what to do. And I think even though it's a mistake, even though it would be even though things, I'm not saying it was a mistake, but what I'm saying, if anyone is young and starting out, I think you can make mistakes because you just want to do what you want to do, but that's the only way you can learn. Like, I don't know. I don't regret it for that reason. I regret it being rude to you or whatever, but
no, I didn't. I that really that was more like, right, we're getting somewhere now, because I know now why you're really angry, and I
was fighting a lot at the time. I was fighting against a lot of things. Yeah.
And when you're told that basically you're going to work with somebody you don't know, that you kind of like, that I posed as being the establishment, but soon you realise.
But I admired you though. But I admired your work.
Yeah, but you knew that I wasn't. As soon as we started working, you knew that I didn't represent the establishment.
No, exactly. It's just you had worked with the Horrors, and I hated that band. So.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, no, good point. Yeah.
And so I didn't want to be associated in any way with them. So it was just a stupid battle of, I don't know. These things take proportions when you're young that you much bigger than actually they are.
Yeah, but they're the things that shape you, though.
Exactly. I think, whatever the route you want to take, in the end, it's your life, it's your, but yeah, it's just strange. Yeah.
It's one thing I always say is that whole thing of, and even more so now, because a lot of young musicians, their only route in is to go into these music colleges that their parents or they have to work to kind of get into. And, and it's very, very, it's good, but I find it also incredibly bad, because they're kind of still trying to tell you what is the correct way of doing something. There is no correct way of doing anything, and if you feel like you're running against the tide, still stick with it, because ultimately, you know, Jehnny like fought against the tide. I fought against the tide. You know, most of the people, like you said, Daft Punk, Air, they fought against the tide and singing in English and French. Do you know what I mean? Like, you know,
well, they saw something that nobody else saw, and they just went for it, you know, and they've been told, I'm sure, many times it's not right, you know.
Yeah, and it's you're usually being told by people that have had a small amount of success in the music industry or a small amount of knowledge, and they've got their own preconceptions of how they think the music industry works.
Yeah, and especially in that time, at the beginning of Savages, it was after the crash, you know, in the music industry. And it felt to me that, you know, this generation who had the golden years, you know, of all the money and everything, they couldn't really tell me what to do, because we were equal. We were all trying to figure out what was the best deals, what was the best way to do things. And I had signed record deals that were awful before, when they hand you like a 40K check and they take everything for life forever. And you're like, you've never had so much money in your life that you think.
How did you get out of those?
We just never replied to anything. I took lawyers. I tried to break the deal. I didn't have any money, so I was trying. That a lawyer was kind enough to try, but I kind of gave up. And you know, there's always this thing where you have to provide them per contract, like a demos or and they have to turn it down. I think we never contacted them again. I think we never did anything, and they just let us go, you know. But it was sort of unofficial in the end. But this did not paying, you know what I mean? They've never paid.
Yeah, of course.
But it was but then when Savages started, I just knew it was, you know, what you were saying about Stormzy. It was trying to make your deals so that you're not doing the same mistake I had done before, which is selling everything. So now the Savages records, we're going to get them back. You know, it's 10 years it's 10 years license deal. And I have to say, I'm proud that I stood on my ground and
really,
sacked the management.
Really,
Sacked the management of the time. I told the girls, but I was like, no way. And at the time, the management was very manipulated and trying to say, Camille is a bit angry. She's, you know, she's a bit bitter with her past experiences. Just signed this record deal, artist deal, and publishing deal, everyone package. It's a great house. Go there. And I'm like, no, I know it's wrong. Like, I know it's wrong. And we found a management who were okay with doing the way that, you know, the licensing deal way. And now, I think it's like in a 3 years time or 4 years time, we're going to get those records back. We can sell them again. I mean, what do you know, that's genius.
I mean, that is basically Portishead signed. We're signed, we're going forever. It's just like we have to fight for anything we get from Universal. We've never been in debt with them. We've always made them money. And basically, do they trust us? Do they rate us? Do they respect us? No, they don't give a fuck.
No. Yeah, I know, it's difficult. It's,
you know, and you know, so we were the time that you could make money and you could play big tours. I'm not complaining about that, but it's now this corporate entity that basically are people that I don't know anymore, just own you, you know,
and they've changed as well. It's not the same people. It's
they're like McDonald's or Amazon or whatever. They're just, you know. They I mean, it's that whole thing. 10 years of saying, like, 10 years ago, not that long ago, I decided never to work with a major label ever again. For any deal. Anytime that anyone phones me up, wants me to do a record, it's like, nah, not dealing with them. No. And that's what I say there. And it's like, I've never been happier, you know, because what I do, I own. It's mine. I can, you know, it's just like, you know, but that is, if anything comes out, if anyone young is listening and we're talking about, you know, kind of ownership keep hold of your rights. Keep hold of your rights, even if they offer you the planet, just do it. If they want you that badly, they will do what they did with Jehnny Beth and license you, you know.
If they really want you, then you can you can
you need an end date. You need to know.
Yeah, exactly. But you need to know when you have value, when you have something that has value. You need to know your own value. You know what I mean? It needs, when you're in your 20s, like it's hard to think that what you're doing is valuable. That is actually
they'll always make out they're kind of doing you a favor, you know.
That's the thing.
They won't be there if you didn't have any value. They want it.
That's it. Know? That's it. That's what I remember I was trying to tell myself.
Good.
But you know, you only have a pen and a paper. You know, that's what you have. You're writing things, and those people want it, but you don't. It's hard to imagine that has the value of that, because for you it's vital to do it. It's just necessary. It's something that you do to survive, like in your head, or to
you want to be heard as well, though, don't you? I mean, when someone comes up to you,
and there's that.
You want to
like the stars.
Yeah.
And
oh dear.
The dream, and you want that for sure.
In the industry, is the Wizard of Oz, really. It's a little man behind a
I remember in the band that made us really angry, you know, all that fight that we had to go through on the first 6 months of existence. And some of the band members I only met as well on the first rehearsal, so I only knew them for 6 months. So I think it just made it, you know, we would never smile on pictures. We would I would even frown on pictures, and every photographer would be like, can you smile?
Yeah.
I remember looking at Jim, I was like, it's not about smiling here.
Well, I mean,
that's what we were going through. We were at war.
At least you had you definitely had a look of a band. I mean, we look we look like three random people that have been dragged off the street.
No, that's not true. You look really great. You all looked very photogenic. I mean, look at the music videos with Beth, and you know, come on.
Oh yeah, Beth. I mean, yeah.
But you look good. You posted a picture of you young. You look like Brad Pitt or something. So shut up.
Oh, look at me now. Oh dear, it's all over now. It's all over. We better go, haven't we?
Yes, I think so. Thank you so much, though. It was great.
Oh, well, thanks. So I'm going to be talking to Jason from Sleeping Mods next time. Get into his head and into his sexy cookery, hopefully. So anyway, cheers.
Great. I'll be watching.
What do we do? What do we do to cheers?
You click on end and leave meeting, and then we'll be off. Thank you, everybody.
Let's do that. Hey, I'll see you soon. Take care.
See you soon, Jeff. Take care.
Say hi to Johnny and everyone. Take care.
Yes, I will. He says hi. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.